All right, family. Solo. What's up, family? Africa should wake up from what? I am using Dr. Movies hashtag Wake Up Africa. You know, Africa should wake up for one simple fact. You know, uh, they coming for you. They're coming for what you've got. Okay, as the Western countries are going down. Okay, as the West is going down, Africa is rising. They want they're gonna come for what you have. So this is the reason why you need to wake up. Okay, the projections for the future is really dire for every other population group except Africa. Africa is rising population wise. Africa is 1.2 billion people currently. By 2040, Africa is estimated to be about 2 billion people. By 2100, Africa is projected to be 4 billion people. 4 billion people when every other population group keep falling. The median age of Europeans is like 40 years old. 40, 60. Whereas the median age for Africans is you know under 20 years old. Is it 17 years old? So when you talk about resources, okay, Africa is full of natural resources. By far the richest continent on our planet with all the natural resources you can think of. Uh, the most arable land on the planet, rainfall, uh, habitable geographic area, um, the most conducive environment for any sort of life, weather-wise. It's really perfect. Africa is really the Garden of Eden, and with the global warming and climatic change that's going on, it's going to affect all other parts of the globe minus Africa. At current, the US is experiencing heat waves. Europe experienced theirs in July. And it's going to get worse. Okay, it's going to get worse. Winter is going to come and it's going to be worse. Okay, all winters are going to be worse, and all these things are indicative of drastic climate. So this is a time that Africa and Africans need to wake up, and smell the coffee, see reality, what's happening on our planet. Okay, the world is not waiting for you. Okay, the world is not waiting for you, and thank God we have leaders in Africa like Paul Kagame, and um, people like the Guinean president Nana Akufo-Addo, the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, the Egyptian president, um, um, Julius Malema, okay, the Namibian president, Mr. Hage, the Tanzanian president Magufuli, Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya. All these people are really prominent figures when it comes to politics in Africa, and who are really spearheading Africa to into the future, with the purpose of Africa taking control of Africans taking control of Africa. All right. So yeah. Without much ado, I have two people watching. Without much ado, I am going to get into the topic. Okay. As a Nigerian would say, okay, Trump must go. All right, if I got that right, Trump must go. So, Mr. Trump has been very controversial. Well, he has been controversial from the start, and whatever he does now is nothing new. Okay, it's nothing new. We all know who Donald Trump is. Uh, his attitude of being indifferent, when it comes to serious situations, okay, is not surprising to anybody. It shouldn't surprise you at all that POTUS 45 is behaving how he behaves. Um, this stream is about the recent um, chaotic storm. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. I am using StreamYard now. Okay, Google Hangout is out of service, so I'm using StreamYard. It's very easy to use. So yeah, it's got some really cool functions here. I can take off the StreamYard logo if I pay a bit of money. So yeah, we'll see in future. So currently I'm using a free option. So Mr. Trump has been very indifferent towards the recent mass shootings in the United States. The issues in the United States is only going to get worse. Okay, and these things have been happening since the inception of the United States. Okay, as a country. Okay, when you even look at Texas, Texas used to be part of Mexico. When Texas became part of the United States, the Mexicans never went anywhere. They just stayed where they were. They just stayed there and became U.S. citizens. So these people saying send them back, I mean, that's where they belong. These Mexicans belong in Texas because it's their homeland. Okay, but stories of for other days. But these people haven't changed at all. It's all the advent of the cell phone cameras and stuff like that that has brought all these things to the limelight. But these things have been happening in history. I think the history of the Texas Rangers murdered a lot of Mexicans in Texas. They murdered thousands of Mexicans in Texas. I think in the early 1900s. I forgot the date now, but I read it somewhere. The atrocities, pale skinned Americans, aka white people, committed on other groups of people is really, really disgusting. And this is nothing new. So when you see a white supremacist, and white supremacy is an ideology, by the way. Nobody can consider themselves supreme above anybody else because at the end of the day, okay, we all have the same basic necessities to sustain life. Um, you know, at the end of the day, we are all part of the same entity or energy force. At the end of the day, okay, we all become one food. So nobody is special above the other, fellow human being. We are all one. Okay, we are all of the same essence. So the ideology or the idea of ideology of white supremacy is that the white race is supreme above all other race, but there's nothing to prove it. I mean, when you look at it genetically, you know, the darker people, aka Africans, are the most genetically stronger individuals or people on this planet, i.e., they being the original people or closest to the original man that came out of Africa. The original Homo sapien that coming out of the Rift Valley in Africa. You know, that's why you have your athletes. The best athletes are black people. So genetically, when you want to look at genetic superiority, okay, Africans are the most superior. genetically. But the end game, the end of everything is that we all become worm food. Okay? We all become worm food at the end of the day. So no one should lord himself above anybody else because of skin color. I mean, anybody who projects such ideology really exhibits their own fragility. So there we have it. Sister Naima, welcome to the stream. I really appreciate you for coming here. Thanks for the chocolate. I know what you mean, but yeah, I'll take it. All right, I love chocolate too. So Solo says Africa fast asleep. It ain't waking up anytime soon. Oh well, family, we have to really wake up. Okay, if you find a fellow African not waking up, give him a really good wake up slap. Okay, across the face, across the back of the head. Okay, they've got to wake up. Okay, they've got to wake up. Let them see reality. Okay, we're not going to sit back for Europe to galvanize themselves and move into recolonize Africa. Okay, if someone is sleeping, if someone is sleeping and not aware of what's happening, give him the good old slap. Okay, wake the hell up. All right, this is what we need to do. Okay, give them a nudge. We all need to play our part. Okay, on social media, when we go out to our everyday lives, okay, we need to interact with people, let them know what's happening, because a lot of people are not aware of what's happening. A lot of people don't even know the history. They don't even care. But then if you show them the evidence of what's going on, okay, they might think twice. All right, so Trump must go. Okay, and I don't know if it's likely that Trump will get impeached, but the elections is drawing near. It's almost election time. I think in November for the citizens of the United States, and they're rather hoping to oust Donald Trump through the ballots or exercise their democratic rights to vote Donald Trump out. But with the rise of white supremacy and the name in the media and in the mouth of other or so many people, we really don't know how this is going to play out. They are struggling to impeach Trump, but it's going to be very difficult. So I'm pretty sure they're just going to wait, and see how this play out democratically. Okay, through the mass shootings in the United States. Okay, it's nothing new. Okay, this is nothing new. Throughout from the 1900s, there's been over 3,000 lynchings. Okay, if lynchings in the United States. Elm City, thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate you for coming through. Yeah, so these atrocities have been going on in the United States for a very long time, and it's only that in 2019, or the advent of the cell phone cameras, we're able to see these things, live, and these things are being reported daily. Okay, so much that a whole lot of these things are probably swept under the rug in the past. Okay, they quickly go in there and cover up the story, and then we don't know what's happening next. But we have stories like the black man being marched, through this city in somewhere is it in Texas or something, where he trespassed, and apparently he was mentally ill, and he trespassed, and they cuffed him, and then they tagged him on a rope, just like how the slave catchers did while riding their horses. I mean, it's so absurd. And if we didn't have cell phones to record these things, we wouldn't know that these things are still going on. And the BS was the police officers are saying that they were not aware of it having a historical significance and stuff like that. But they're lying. We know what they're doing. We know what they're doing. So yeah, it's really shameful. uh, Elm City. So these things are nothing new. Okay, white people, committing mass, massacre on other groups of people. Um, what should we talk about? The Tulsa, Oklahoma. They call it a race riot, but it wasn't really. It was more like a terrorist event attack. So this is nothing new. Okay, this is nothing new, and it's just gonna get worse. Okay, it's just gonna get worse. This thing happened in Texas on the 3rd of August, where a gunman, echoing the words of Mr. Trump, okay, calling people, vermin, and calling them invaders, and just vile words used towards human beings, people that are actually indigenous to those parts of the United States, like Texas. Like I said, Texas was part of Mexico. So if a Mexican from Mexico goes into Texas, that person is basically in his own homeland. So there you have it. These people have no boundaries. They did the same thing in South Africa, where they do not belong anyway. They did the same thing here in Australia, where they do not belong in the first place. They did that. They did this everywhere they went, just to take control. And this is deeply rooted in the system. Okay, deeply rooted in the system called racism. Okay, so racism is a system of oppression. Okay, it's a system of oppression. Okay, which is enshrined in the government. Okay, an institution in the government. Okay, that allows control and the acquisition of wealth and the distribution of it to benefit a select few people. Okay, and also, or in turn, harms another group of people or other groups of people. So this has been playing out in the United States for the longest, since the inception of the United States. So when you have someone like Donald Trump, who echoes the words of the everyday, white American, who feels or who subscribes or ascribes to the ideology of white supremacy, uh, you know, this is what you're gonna get. Okay, Donald Trump goes to El Paso when the people in El Paso told him not to go, and he ended up going there, and it was all about him. Everything he was talking about, and it's nothing new. Donald Trump is very, very egocentric. Okay, everything he talks, it's all about him, always about him. When he talks about how good the country is performing, okay, he attributes it to him, not even his staff members. So I mean, you cannot expect Donald Trump to change, and you know what's happening with you know what they say, old dogs new tricks. I mean, you can't expect Donald Trump to change. So yeah, he just echoes how everyday white Americans feel, and it's scary that all the racists will come back and vote for Donald Trump like they did in the last presidential election. You know, so yeah, so I this topic is about Trump must go, as the Nigerians say, Trump must go. Um, there are several points that are outlined. Okay, um, it's not really. Trump doesn't even have. It doesn't have the attributes of a leader, any leader. When you talk about in the history of politics, okay, even Ronald Reagan being, it was recently unearthed that he called African heads of state monkeys, and he was being recorded by Richard Nixon, and he the tape said that you know Ronald Reagan was saying that Africans were not even used to, these monkeys were not even used to wearing shoes. I mean, even him, okay, understands that in times of tragedy, okay, he knows how to be diplomatic, okay, not to stir the wounds or you know, you know, put more salt to injury of victims. But in times of tragedy, okay, it's all about victims, always about the victim, and never about yourself as a leader. You need to go out there and show solidarity with the people, and mourn with them in their loss. But in our case with Donald Trump, we shouldn't expect that because we know the kind of person he is anyway. So yeah, Elm City said it's sickening and heartbreaking. Yes, it's really awful what's happening. But this is a wake up call for Africa. I hope Africans are watching. I hope Africans are learning. So Chaotic Storm said the FBI said white supremacists have entered every aspect of law enforcement. Yes, indeed. If you follow Philip from the Advice Show, yeah, he exposes them all the time. He exposes them all. The sun is setting and is just casting face, but yeah, it's beautiful. But yeah, so yeah, Philip from he's rebranding his channel now, the African Diaspora channel. So he talks about the white supremacists now. They are even in the hospitals, family. They are in the hospitals, and this should really really scare you. You need to have an African plan. Okay, you need to have an African plan. Exit. Okay, whilst it's still good, right? Exit whilst you still have the chance to do so. So yeah, I did outline some points about why Trump should be impeached, and for me, I just say, look, he's not the right man for the job. Okay, um, it was just a weird circumstance that during the presidential election, um, what's the name? Hillary Clinton wasn't really a great person to be the president of the United States, and neither Donald Trump was. But it just gave Americans, basically no choice than to go with Donald Trump. And no one ever allows an entertainer, okay, be you can never allow an entertainer to be your leader. So yeah. And in the past, entertainers were called clowns or fools. Entertainers, clowns were actually, or another word for a clown is a fool. And they used to entertain the king. Okay, that's what comedians were in the past. And nobody would, back in the days, nobody, I'm very sure that nobody from that time ever dreamt of a fool becoming a president or a king someday. Nobody. If people should come, from the past, say 2,000 years ago, or even 1,000 years ago, and come into, or even 500 years ago, okay, and come into our present world right now, right, and learn that a fool has become a president. I mean, that person would want to really go back to those times, when life was even. So America is imploding. As a result, that's fact. Okay. As a result, Trump is president. As a result, Trump as president is exactly what's supposed to be happening. I too hope the motherland is learning from the great evil experiment that is my country. Yeah, yeah. I don't think it was an experiment at all. It just set up that way. It was just set up I mean, if your country was established based on pillaging and conquering and destroying and murdering, genociding people. I mean, the United States was formed on bloodshed. You know, the free labor of our ancestors, the death and toil of our ancestors every day. Our ancestors create, powers that we don't know of. Some of us know, and we tap into it. Others don't. My grandfather actually tapped into his ancestral powers when he moved to Ghana from the United States. He became a traditionalist, and you know, so much that my mom was a Christian. He hated my mom. My grandfather hated my mom for that factor alone. And yeah, but I can remember a few things about him. He was very, very, into the African spirituality, and so was my his wife. His wife, I think his wife was from the Caribbean, and his wife was very much into like the traditional African medicines and stuff like that. But yeah, our African ancestors spent every single day, cursing the European. Spent every single day calling on the ancestors to avenge them. What do you think all these souls that died in the okay? What do you think they're doing now? They're crying out, for the destruction of the United States and Babylon. Believe it or not, Babylon is going to burn. It's imploding. It's imploding. Like all the hurricanes are formed off the west coast of Africa. The climate. I am very scared of Yellowstone. What Yellowstone is going to do when it blows. So all these things are the twisters, the hurricanes, and the tornadoes and stuff like that. It's just telling you that destruction is coming upon the United States, and couple that with the political climate of the United States currently, the U.S. is on the verge of a civil war. You know, it will only take a little twitch of someone like Donald Trump, or a little tweet that will send a wrong message somewhere, and people will start, killing other people on the streets. So uh, the U.S. is not conducive for anybody to be in at the moment, especially people of African descent. Okay, this is the time for you to connect with the motherland, and make the most of it whilst things are great right now. Now, what was I saying? That despite the climatic chaos in the United States, we're looking at just recently there was an earthquake in California, 6.4. 6.4. I mean, every day there's a daily reminder that anytime from now, California will be in the bottom of the ocean. When you look at the gun violence in the United States, is just crazy. Okay, it's just crazy. When you look at the police killings. A couple of weeks ago, I had a look. It was 480 something, 82, and trust me, it's 500 now. It's August now, and we every year it's almost 1,000 people are killed by police every year. And when you have a look now, the police killings website, when you have a look now, it's almost 600 people already, and the year is not even ended yet. So I mean, all these things are happening, and you can't just say that the United States is not imploding. It is really, really imploding. And when these people know, especially the white Americans, when they know that they're being pinned to the wall, with them becoming a minority in the United States, it's not going to go well at all. All right. Currently, Donald Trump showing his indifference and dog whistling. Okay. Oh, they're good people on both sides. How can you call people of the KKK good people? They can never be a member of the KKK that is a good person. knowing that it's a terrorist organization. You can't. You can never do that. So, I mean, Donald Trump has refused, up until the El Paso shootings, has refused or had refused to rebuke white supremacy. And it looked like when he had to, it had to, because there was too much noise about white supremacy on social media now. Okay, he had to. Someone wrote it for him to say it. Okay, someone had to force him to say it, because everyone is on the edge now about white supremacy. So let's see. Let's have a look at the comments now. Danger Pooch, true. Chaotic Storm, America will one day be colony of African Union, as its original was built by Africans. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the wealth, when you look at the wealth of America, was based on the free labor of our ancestors for over 400 years. I say over 400 years because the Spanish people and the Portuguese actually started enslaving Africans in the 1400s. Okay, the Portuguese actually started taking Africans into Florida and the Carolinas before the British. The British were the last to even step in. When you look at even West Africa, it was the Portuguese were the first to even so-called discover West Africa or discover Africa or whatever. So when you go to Ghana, you still see names reminiscent of the presence of the Portuguese, like Elmina. Elmina meaning the mine. And Ghana was called a mine before because of the plethora of minerals in Ghana. So the British came around the 1800s and kicked away the Danes. Believe it or not, the Danes, the Swedes, the Dutch, who else was the Portuguese? They were all in Ghana. The Spanish, they were all in West Africa. The Germans, all of them were there. Okay, all of them were there. So yeah, when the judgment comes, they're all gonna be served. Okay, they're all gonna be served. But yeah, when Africa rises to global supremacy, okay, yeah, the whole world will come begging at our feet. Okay, this is what we want. Okay, and we might achieve this in our generation, family, because the Agenda 2063 is only about 40 something years from now. Okay, 43 years from now, and we majority of us are going to be alive. Okay, but majority of us are going to be alive to witness that day. And in 20 years, even the next 10 years, by 2030, 2040, I mean, economically, Africa is going to be the powerhouse of the world. All right. So yeah. Danger Pooch, complete insanity, bro. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. Yeah, the Democratic Party. Hang on, I got a notification on my StreamYard. We're having trouble streaming to your YouTube channel. Please check your YouTube to ensure the stream looks okay. Can you all see me though? Can you? Am I streaming all right? I haven't tested this. I thought I did before and I was doing all right. So I just got a notification that my stream is. I think I'm doing all right. I don't know why I got that notification. Yeah, I think I'm doing all right. So yeah. Thanks, Danger Pooch. You can see me. All right. So some of the key points that I wrote down for reasons why I feel Donald Trump should go. Okay, is he being egotistic? Okay, he talks about himself always. Okay, always. It's always about him. Always about him, right? He's a bully. Okay, he's like a 5-year-old. You can't reason with that. He bullies people on Twitter. Okay, and basically he's a cyber bully. he incites racism. He incites he fuels the flame of racism and bigotry. Okay, racism and bigotry. They're two separate things, by the way. So one involves racism, which is the control of wealth and resources to benefit one group of people, over another. Okay, that's racism. Okay, using the government policies and institutions to deprive other people of resources. Okay, that's racism. But then bigotry is like your name calling and your bias and basically your prejudice and stuff like that. Those are bigotry. Okay, um, yeah, but racism is substantial that it deals with resources, right? So yeah, let us bear that in mind when we looking at that aspect. Okay, so when you have a select group of people who have used great power, okay, who have used great power to subjugate other group of people, basically making them slaves, okay, letting them work for free whilst they amass a lot of wealth, okay, enough to pass down onto their generations, okay, to the point where there's a disconnect now that their generations today aren't current, okay, they have in the past. I mean, that's what racism is all about, okay, and it's institutionalized, okay, it's in the government, okay, the government permits it, okay, so that's racism. But yeah, so going on with Trump is running amok, okay, uh, you know basically he's running a ruckus, really, uh, doing whatever he wants. Trump doesn't listen to advice, okay, he doesn't listen to advice. I think he does, but because he's so old, he probably just forgets and just uses whatever is in his mind. I was watching one of the some highlights from and my God, Mike Tyson was a beast. He was a beast. But I was watching one of his fights, and I thought I was hearing Donald Trump comment. Donald Trump was a commentator on one of Mike Tyson's fights, and that was in the 1980s. So I mean, this guy has no place in politics, really. He had no place in politics. He has no decorum to be president. Anyway, so when you look at uh, his Donald Trump's trade wars with China, which he's losing, by the way. Okay, Donald Trump is losing the trade war. Okay, and one thing they're not telling you about is that during the whole Huawei saga, okay, where they banned Huawei from doing business and all the economic deprivation towards Huawei was making losses. Okay, don't you think that Huawei would have asked for compensations? They don't talk about it, but I'm pretty sure the United States government paid compensations to Huawei for disrupting their business. And it's not made public, but I'm pretty sure there was a silent lawsuit there, okay, because Huawei was investigated and not found guilty of causing any security threat. So I mean, the trade war is just a disaster. Okay, the U.S. economy is failing drastically. Is failing. Uh, there's an ever amount of joblessness in the United States. Homelessness is at all-time high in the United States. Um, Currently, about 50% of Americans could easily lose their home. As we speak, okay, the United States is on the verge of financial crisis or another recession. Okay, Trump's tariff wars, are causing a lot of businesses, okay, to shut down. Okay, basically the tariffs put on China. Okay, the business are still going to import the goods, all right, but you, the consumer, are going to be basically paying the tariffs, because those business owners are going to make sure they pass the tariffs back onto you in the form of increasing the price of the items that you buy. So don't think that China is going to be, you know, paying for all these tariffs. Hong Kong is going to unify with China. It's going to be even worse for the USA. Yeah, the Hong Kong is already part of China. I mean, uh, about 20 years ago, Hong Kong's GDP was like, I think 27% of China's overall China's GDP. Currently, Hong Kong constitutes only 2% or less than 2% of China's GDP. That should tell you that China doesn't even need Hong Kong. China doesn't even need Hong Kong. That's why they're so slow. China's on what's happening in Hong Kong at the moment, because when it comes to China, they're gonna roll in the military ASAP to curb whatever is going on in Hong Kong at the moment. Okay, but at the moment it doesn't care. It doesn't give China any nudge at all, because China, I mean, Hong Kong doesn't constitute much at all towards China's development. So even if Hong Kong is destroyed into the ocean right now, it wouldn't cause a sting to China's economy. So they don't really want to waste time on that. But we all know what's happening in Hong Kong at the moment was instigated by the United States. Okay, the students that are protesting were all under American influence, right? They were all under the United States influence, and they did that. It's all by proxy. Okay, there's much evidence. There's so much evidence that the USA is the cause of the protests in Hong Kong at the moment, right? And left to China alone, okay, they would have sent the military in to curb the events in Hong Kong ages ago. All right, ages ago. So they're just waiting to see what's happening, and very soon the military is going to roll in there, and yeah, it's going to be done deal. And so let's go back to Mr. Trump, right? Let's go back to Mr. Trump. Yeah, so the rate cuts. I mean, when you have your reserve bank issuing rate cuts, okay, you should know that your economy is already in dire situations. Okay, yeah, economy is about to crumble. Okay, when you're having rate cuts. Okay, yeah, Trump doesn't listen to anybody. I think I said that before. Trump is unapologetic. Okay, when Trump does something and you approach him about it, or you question him about it, he never apologizes for it. And we all know what happened with the Central Park 5 documentary that came out. Now They See Us. We all know that Donald Trump was advocating for the return of the death penalty. It was only because those guys were black at the time. Okay, he called for death penalty, and Donald Trump wasn't even in politics back then. He just owned a few of the newspaper publications. Those guys were black. Okay, he called for the death penalty, and now that the evidence is out that those people were innocent. Okay, those black individuals or brothers were innocent. Trump refuses to apologize. Okay, he refuses to apologize. So this is the kind of person we dealing with, someone who is very egocentric, and yeah, thinks about himself all the time. So yeah, is O'Shea here? O'Shea, thanks for joining the stream. You shared my stream. I really appreciate it, brother. How's it going? Are you still in Uganda somewhere? Right? Are you still in Uganda? Thanks, family. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. I appreciate you, family. Yeah, O'Shea, you need to help me. I need 1,000 subscribers before November. Okay, my target is November. I want to have 1,000 subscribers before the Jamaican festival in November. So yeah, that's going to be my target. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So the topic for today is Trump must go. Okay, or I like to use the Nigerian accent. Okay, Trump must go. Okay, so uh, yeah, I mean, there's so many reasons why Donald Trump should be impeached, but I don't know what they're waiting for. And this is what racism is all about. It's institutionalized. Okay, it's institutionalized. I mean, in the past, the presidents of the United States, you know, will kill. I mean, people in the United States will kill for less than what Trump is doing. A whole lot of presidents in the United States were assassinated for doing less than that, or less than what Trump is doing. So, uh, you know, Trump has found a safe haven, okay, with the climate of the United States at the moment, where white supremacy, okay, racism, white supremacy is show their ugly head, okay. Trump has emboldened all these people to do what they do, okay, and it's only going to get worse. Okay, so Trump doesn't have the quality of a leader, in 2019. So I mean, uh, simply because he just doesn't have it. Okay, he just doesn't have those qualities to be a leader of a powerful, very very powerful nation like the United States. So as you can see, the United States is imploding. All right, and when you look at the political arena, you have the Democrats and the Republicans. Neither of them have an African American agenda or a black agenda. Okay. Neither do. Okay, so most people are most likely going to vote for the Republican Party, and most likely Donald Trump is going to have a second term, and it's only going to get worse when you have somebody who is unapologetic, okay, about his dispositions. He can't even say extend his condolences to the people there. And in his speech, he only basically just talked about himself and how the crowd received him and stuff like that, and only expressed his condolence to the people via his Twitter account. I mean, it's just so crazy, by saying sad. I mean, what? Sad. How does that help anybody when someone is suffering and then you just go to the person sad? How is that gonna help anybody when you are pointing to the current situation? Pointing out suffering does not make them feel better. It doesn't make them feel better. You have to console them. You know. So, and Trump doesn't have those kind of qualities. So MD90, thanks for joining the stream. Good morning to you. It's good evening here. It's 5:58 p.m. Melbourne, Australia. Wednesday, the 14th of August. Geez, we're already halfway through August. This year's going very, very, very fast, and yeah, things are happening rapidly. All right, so finally, I think Trump is very, very from the youth. Okay, so the youth are going to be the decisive factor when it comes to this election. So if the youth are able to vote, I think Donald Trump would not be the president of the United States if the Republican Party decide to go on with Donald Trump. But as we no other opponent or figure opposing Donald Trump at the moment, or when it comes to the Republican Party. So you know. So yeah. And lastly, I think Donald Trump is a joke. Okay, at least I know that here in Australia, Donald Trump is a complete joke. Uh, we in Australia don't take him really seriously. Worldwide, okay, he's a laughing stock. Okay, we when you mention the United States, Donald Trump comes up, and nobody really is excited about the United States. I mean, like what? You know what? I mean, it's a joke, really. So, as I said, you can't. There's no time in history that a clown has become a king. None that I know of. Okay, none that I know of. So, yeah, it's only this is the only time, okay, in history that a powerful nation like the United States has made a clown their leader. Okay, and this is what you're gonna have. Okay, no entertainer has a place governing a nation. Okay, an entertainer going back 500 years. Okay, is what's called a clown or a fool. Okay, and what do they say about a fool? You cannot counsel a fool. You can never give a fool advice. And this is what we're seeing with Donald Trump. You can't talk to him. People in his cabinets are moving away from him. People in his cabinet are moving away from him. So everyone is despising Donald Trump now, and he's made his true feelings come out. He's unapologetic. He's not remorseful. He's not you know he's indifferent. Okay, and hell yeah, he supports white supremacy. Okay? He supports white supremacy. You know, bold-heartedly. Okay, so yeah. So what do we have here in the chat? No, the woke black sect just won't vote at all as we did in 2016. Actually, how many woke black sectors? I mean, what's the consensus? I mean, the woke black people or black sect in the United States don't amount to much at all. It's only like a handful of people. Okay, but the non-woke, okay, surpasses the amount of woke people in the United States. YouTube has, I mean, everyone has YouTube on the mobile phone. Everybody. But how many people are on YouTube? How many people are on social media? Okay, how many people are on social media? Not a lot. So a whole lot of people who are not on social media get their information from direct TV, direct television, and those people are always going to skew the political outcomes. Okay, so we on social media, what we have to do is keep nudging all these people, especially our grandfathers, our uncles, okay, who do not much. Okay, but the woke, so-called woke community, okay, the conscious people are not much at all by the look of things. So yeah, I mean, let's see what else is here. Lady of, I appreciate you coming through. When I came in, I couldn't believe what host shared. I had to hear it again, so I am replying to what was said in 5 minutes ago. What was it? Can you repeat it? Can you actually ask a question, Lady of Lake Fork? Yeah. So I mean, I saw somewhere that uh, you know I even made a few months ago. I think last year I made a video there hashtag no, don't vote, because I did not see anybody, okay, opposing Donald Trump or even up to breast with Donald Trump's political inclination, and to the point where they can pose a challenge to Donald Trump. So I just like, there are no political figures at the time to stand against Donald Trump. And I made a video saying don't vote, but I was forced to vote this year during the elections because they forced me to enroll, and basically they were slapping me with some fines if I do not vote. So I went to vote myself. So even though I said I wasn't going to vote, I don't care about the political environment or political issues concerning my country, Australia, i.e., being that my population as a black person in Australia is just 1% of the entire population of Australia. Like, I basically have no say, you know, in the affairs of this country, and I can see why, I can relate to my family in the United States, that we black people have no political, influence over whatever is going on in the United States. So, I mean, the best solution at the time that I could think of was saying, no, don't vote, do not vote, because I mean, it's going to be a waste of time, because the majority of the people, being white people, are always going to decide what the political outcome of the elections are going to be. So it would just be a waste of time being going to vote as a black person. But saying that, the research came out that actually black people actually voted. A majority of black people actually voted for the Republican Party. Okay, so news flash. Okay, a lot of black people actually voted, in record numbers for the Republican Party. Black people actually voted for Donald Trump. Yep, they actually voted for Donald Trump. So a few days ago, Donald Trump, when they were actually investigating Donald Trump's Wall Street, his comments, during his rallies and stuff like that, when he was talking about the Mexicans being invaders and stuff, and the gunman in El Paso, echoed Donald Trump's words, and stuff like that. During one of his rallies, okay, this is really important. Okay, during one of Donald Trump's rallies, okay, it was just like it was just staged, but this wasn't staged. Okay, there was a black woman with two children behind Donald Trump. And Trump was asking, what are we going to do with these people, these invaders into our country? What are we going to do? And someone yelled in the crowd, shoot them. Okay, someone yelled in the crowd, shoot them. Okay, Donald Trump paused for a while and then smiled. He never said anything, to rebuke this person. He just laughs about it. Everybody laughs about it. All the white people laughed about it. They thought it was a joke. It's not a joke. These people mean it. They've been doing this too. They've been doing this for a long time. Okay, if you study the history of what the KKK and all these people have done, okay, they even kill white people. They don't care. They kill white people. I mean, when you look at the number of lynchings in the United States, over 3,000 of them, I think, over 1,000 were actually white people were lynched as well. Mexicans were lynched as well. Anybody non-white was lynched, including white people were lynched. So white people that sided with black people will be lynched as well. So I mean, one thing that was really, really cringy from that rally, where Donald Trump was asking, what should we do with these people? Okay, was that someone yelled in the crowd that shoot them. And there was a black family right behind Donald Trump. And there was a little boy that heard it. It was a little boy, a little girl that heard what the people were saying. And you can see that the kids were so confused. What are we hearing? They were like the only black people in the sea of white people. And these white people are yelling, send them back or shoot them. And they're laughing. And these black children were looking so confused. And this kid, you see that this kid in the arms of the mother was actually looking at the mother, like really scared, really scared. And this is really troublesome. If you guys missed it, okay, go back and look at it. Okay, it's really, really sick and scary at the same time. So yeah, So Lady of Lake Fork, he isn't a fool. He is being whose interest he is being he. Sorry, there's a typo there. It's really throwing me off, but I'll try and read that properly. He isn't a fool. He is being whose interest only extends as far as his own existence. It doesn't extend to children, wife, parent, only to him. It is evil. Okay, if I can understand that, okay, I stated earlier on that Donald Trump is basically like a kid, okay, like a 5-year-old kid who only thinks about himself, okay, who can throw a tantrum and you cannot reason with them, okay. Uh, they don't listen to anybody, okay, and you know it's just old age. I mean, when people are old, they tend to behave like children, basically. Children, yeah. I mean, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. And Donald Trump, coming from a wealthy family, that came being part German. Donald Trump is part German. You know, coming from a very wealthy, family who migrated to the United States in the early, I think, late 1800s. You know, they've always seen wealth. Where little people are being suppressed and they having so much wealth. That's his paradigm. That's how he sees the world. Okay, that's the lens through which he views the world. So he's not going to change throughout his life. He's seeing great wealth. He's not gonna see anything else than see people below him, you know and he only cater for people that will maintain his authority and his wealth. That's it. All right. So yeah, I call Donald Trump a fool because I mean he's an entertainer. Okay, and any entertainer, okay, is a fool. In the old days, okay, in the old days, in the old days, okay, an entertainer to the king, okay, was a clown, and the clown was another name for a clown is a fool. So clown and fool are synonymous. They're the same thing. Okay. So now these days we are like politically correct, but a clown or a fool is synonymous with an entertainer. All right. And what do they say about fools? You cannot counsel fools. You cannot advise a fool. And Donald Trump exhibits all these things. I mean, when you look at all the entertainers, okay, what happens to them? Like you can't really advise entertainers really. How can someone like 50 Cent go bankrupt? How is that possible? How come like all these millionaires who are entertainers end up losing their wealth? I mean, you'd be a fool at that point to make so much money and just lose it all in a blink of you'd be a fool at that point, really. So yeah. Danger Pooch again. I don't know about that stat, bro, but most blacks voted for Trump. That absolutely can be fact. Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, that study came out. I think last year. A lot of black people voted for the Republican Party under Donald Trump because you wouldn't vote for Hillary anyway because Hillary was evil. I mean, that lady was evil. The things that she was doing was really evil. Like I wouldn't vote for Hillary. So if you didn't vote, if black people didn't really vote, I mean, if black people had to vote, they voted for Trump because I don't think black people are going to vote for Hillary anyway because her husband was the one in charge when a whole lot of black men were incarcerated, you know, during I think in 1994 when Vice President Joe Biden passed that crime bill, okay, 1994 crime bill. It was during Hillary Clinton. I mean, Bill Clinton's time. Okay, and I mean, in the 1980s, blacks were, I think, blacks were like 20% of the prison population. Okay, now blacks are 72% of the prison population. 72. That's just wrong, right? And a whole lot of black people were in prison because of possession of narcotics, or mostly then weed, because they know black people have to smoke weed, right? But now that white people are smoking weed, white people are snorting cocaine and crack and all that, they try to move the goalpost now. So they try, because they know that white people are now being arrested for possession of drugs and stuff like that. So now they have to decriminalize these marijuana. They have to decriminalize it because they imprison a lot of white people. So every time these laws affect white people, then they move the goalpost. So she's a white supremacist in secret. Oh, we know that. They all cater for their own kind. So we all know that. Okay. I mean, you can't be a president of the United States if you don't cater for the elite. Okay. The elites, who are just 1% of the world, who control all the wealth. Okay. From the Rockefellers to the Bill Gates. I mean, they control all the wealth. Right. Um, So, Lady of Lake Fork, each person seems to have a need for one person to look deep in their eyes and say, I love you. And in the illness or perhaps sinfulness, they want this person to be the best ever. Yeah, I think that needs to happen. I think give somebody a hug, basically. Give somebody a hug. Tell them they are important and they are needed. You know, uh, get in tune with humanity. Okay, what was this South African word? Imbutu. Okay, it's a philosophy. Okay, it's a word. It's and this is only in Africa, right? It's a word that summarizes humanity. Imbutu. Is it Imbutu? Am I saying it right? Imbutu. Who knows that word? Imbutu. I'll put in the chat. I think it's Imbutu. Okay. Is it Imbutu? Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah. So that word means basically seeing each and everyone as a brother or a sister, family, Imbutu. So it's a basically was a philosophy of Nelson Mandela, and it's a Zulu word, I think, and it's an African philosophy, because that's how the African sees the world, that we are all connected, we all come from one source. And when everyone starts seeing the world like that, okay, we are going to go far, okay, as humanity, with respects to humanity, right? Chaotic storm, they made dispensaries so that the weed white smoke won't get spiked. They made dispensary that the weed white smoke won't get spiked. Okay, I get you, family. Yeah, that's why they made dispensary. Right, with fentanyl. So yeah, they made it. They spiked. But I think fentanyl is an epidemic now. That I think they're taking fentanyl directly, aren't they? They're buying it directly from the pharmacies, aren't they? Yeah. And it's about 8,000. I think in 2017, I read it somewhere in 2017 about almost 8,000 people in it. I say 8,000 or 10,000 people died in the United States over the overdose of drugs like fentanyl, right? So yeah, here in Australia was 1,000 people who died of drug overdose. So yeah. Anyway, family, I think I am about done with my stream, but yeah, Trump must go. I'm sorry I haven't been I'm not as enthusiastic as I am. Don't know what I'm saying, but I think I'm tired. But yeah, I lost my voice and I'm recovering from this nasty flu going around in Australia. Uh, but yeah, I just wanted to point out that Trump just needs to go. Is he going to go? Not likely. I don't think he's going to go. They're gonna keep him in there. Okay. It's what institutional racism. This is what institutional racism does. Okay. They would have impeached Barack Obama for doing less like than what Donald Trump does. You know, but this is what racism is. We see Donald Trump losing his support from his own circle of people as well. So we're just gonna see how this plays out in the coming elections. So yeah, I say go vote. Okay, go vote. Again, the U.S. is going to be placed with given the option of two evils, and you just have to choose the lesser of the two evils. So you're going to have mostly Joe Biden, stepping up against Donald Trump, and does excuse me, does Joe Biden have a chance against Donald Trump? Uh, Not likely, not likely. So, but then it would be wise to vote against Donald Trump because another 4-year term of Donald Trump will really drive the United would really drive the final nail in the coffin of the United States. Okay, yeah. Email is Lady of Lake Folk. Don't lose it. All right, family. I will email you. Okay. Mine is chiefdryno@hotmail.com. You can email me. Also, you can find me on Instagram by the same moniker, Chiefdryno. Yeah. So look for me on Instagram and that's my social media. Um, Outlet when it comes to personal interactions. Yeah, so I'm yet to create a Facebook um, account for so yeah, but yeah, you can reach me on Instagram, okay, on the gram, and also via email. So yeah, definitely I will email you, Lady of Lake Folk, and yeah, we can discuss further. I would love to hear from you. Okay, so if you're watching me again for the first time, please subscribe, share this video. Africa needs to wake up. Okay, all these things are wake up calls for Africa to know that okay, we are on the right path. Okay, nature is in our favor. Okay, 2019 is a great year for Africa. It's the year of return for African Americans, Africans in the diaspora to reconnect with the motherland. Okay, there's nothing wrong having dual citizenship. Okay, support the cause of the African Union. Okay, and participate on the events going on. Okay, take time to contact the African Union, write to them. Affiliate with those that are connected or have connections to the African Union and stuff like that. People that are going to Ghana on the Europe return, people going to Senegal, link up with people, on the continent, you know, make friends with people on the continent. Okay, you can do that on Facebook and whatnot, and join the discussions. So Africa is on the rise. Okay, Africa is on the rise. Okay, it's only wise that we in the diaspora, make the effort to connect with the motherland because that's where the future is. Okay, the Ghanaian president said the future of the destiny of everyone black. Okay, the destiny of every black person on this planet is bound to Africa. Okay, the destiny of everyone black is bound with Africa, and I take it further. Okay, destiny of all humanity is bound with Africa. It's always been like that for millions of years, and it will be like that for millions of years to come. All right. With that said, family, I hope I have satisfied all of you regarding this topic. Okay, Donald Trump must go. He's no good for anybody. Um, yeah. So my condolences again to the people of the United States that were affected in Mexico or anywhere else that were affected by the mass shootings in the United States. My condolences to that. And also, I'd like to point out that what was his name? We have to be very sensitive when it comes to things like this. When people have lost family members, we have to be very, very sensitive and very, very cautious on what we say, not to rub salt in the injuries of people, like Donald Trump is doing. But what was his name? Was this NASA scientist, Dr. DeGrasse Tyson, on the day of the shooting, made a tweet saying that basically he was like 230 people lost their lives due to medical error. He basically put out some statistics, some crazy statistics, which were not wrong. They were true, but it was a little insensitive because whilst people are mourning about the loss of relatives being shot in a shopping mall, do not rub salt in the injury. Okay, try to console these people. Make them feel needed. And let them know that you're there for them. In tragedy, we need to really be very, very careful what we say. All right, family. I appreciate you all joining me. Okay, and DeGrasse Tyson was really he was rebuked for that, and he apologized. Okay, that even though his comment was true, it was insensitive at the time. So we have to be very, very in tune. Okay, in Ubuntu. Okay, be in tune with one another. Okay, promote brotherly, love for one another. Okay, because we are all connected as earthlings. Okay, we only have one room called Earth. Okay, the Creator created all of us and placed us in one room called Earth. So, contrary to what you believe, okay, there's only one place for us all. Okay, and it's called Earth. All right. Okay. All right, family. Thank you. Okay, I really appreciate all of you. All right. Until next time. Okay, Chiefdryno signing out. Thank you. Salute.